All right, where we left off last week, I've got I had to readjust all of these seals, tilt them further back. I had to roll the bottom of the window in a little bit further. I had a bad intersection point up here as far as how it came through through these window whiskers. Then I had a little imbalance as far as it was tighter on this side. I had to roll this back a little bit. Just a bunch of shifting around, a lot of stuff. Now, the thing is this battery, I got it on a charger right now. It's running at like 16 volts. I'm going to turn the charger off. So it's just going to run on the battery. This would be what you'd have normally if the car was shut off. And that's really what I'm going to judge everything by, because the car's running and sending a little extra. It's it's a 13 to 14 volts. This is just below 13 volts when I shut the battery charger off. I'll show you the difference between the charger also and with just the battery. And that's just the battery right now. So she tucks up into the seals. So hopefully with a fully charged system, with the car running, shut the car off, and we should have enough power, hopefully, to bump that up into the stops as normal. I can't see if there's any other resistance as far as the mechanical aspects of it or the weight. The weight is very close now, within 0.2 pounds. It's probably about, I don't know how much that is, 4 ounces difference between the glass in this car and what would be normally in the Challenger. I've run the motor and the mechanism without the glass in it, and it doesn't run much faster. So apparently that's the speed at which it goes up and down. It's a little slow for my taste, but I guess that's the way it's designed to go. Anyway, I'll finish fixing everything here as far as any permanent welds that have to happen, and then I'll move on to the other side. I just thought I'd show you that before I move over to the other side, I wanted to make sure that I engineered some holes to access the bolts that hold the glass into the track over here. So with the glass halfway up, I've got access here, and of course one here, and also to this other glass clamp. So if I just want to take the glass out, I can just remove these 3 bolts here, one there, one there, one there. If I want to take the whole mechanism out, I can unbolt this one here and this one on the very end over here, and that'll take that steel track, that lower track, out. Anyway, I thought I'd show you that. So looking around, before I decided to leave this side of the car, decided to handle a couple of more tests. One was to cut the speaker hole, the clearance hole anyway, for the speaker, and fit it up in there and make sure that I missed all of this apparatus here. And the second thing was, because of the fact that the glass needed to clear this gusset, this corner gusset over here, which is basically 1/16 inch thick, and it's just turned up and then welded to the skin on the inside and welded to the door jamb. Obviously, it was compromised by me thinning it out. So what I did was I added a piece of 3/16 steel to the top, and I welded it continuously around the door on the inside. Normally this is a gap right around in here. So this beefs it up in the corner over here and makes up for me cutting away this little area for the glass clearance. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. All right, so I'm over on the passenger side of the car trying to faithfully replicate everything I did on the other side, only trying to do it a little bit more neatly, as opposed to cutting a little bit out and putting a little bit back in and all that stuff. So I'm coming to the part where I was going to have to cut out the floor bottoms in order to clear the regulators, and I got to thinking about it, and I didn't have to cut the floors out of mine so much. I only had one small bulge in the bottom that had to be for the rear regulator arm, and that would be this arm over here. Just a small pocket on my car, and I had nothing on this side. And then I realized the glass on my car is about 3/4 of an inch shorter, which allowed me to put the regulators up higher in the car and thus less interference at the bottom. Well, the problem with having longer glass is the travel of the regulators here. There's a permanent stop on the bottom over here where it bottoms out, which I didn't want to fool with that, but I have the option. So basically what I've done here is I'm going to put the floor back in the way it was stock on this side over here and reduce the size of that that one over there till it's hardly noticeable. Problem was I opened the door, was looking at this darn thing, and those things are hanging down and real obvious, and it was going to take a lot to disguise them. And I was like, something's wrong here. And then I realized that the glass on my car, like I said, was 3/4 of an inch shorter than this glass, and so it allowed it to come down and disappear into the top of the door and still have these regulator arms pushed up higher in the car. So I've gone ahead and I've relocated my mounting points up 1/2 an inch on both sides over here, which is enough to allow me to put these in. There you see I've got a mocked up stock floor back in over here. And so anyway, just a little bit more messing around, trying to get this thing to look a little bit better when you open the door, because it was looking pretty horsey and I didn't really like it a lot. So I'm going to have to do something to substitute for that stop, give this a little bit more travel so that the glass actually will then drop down and become flush with the top of the door when it's all the way down. Anyway, that's where I'm at with this stuff. On a side note, I just got this in after hunting for quite a long time to find something that would be proper to paint the frit around the perimeter of the glass. It's that black band that goes around most modern cars to protect the urethane from UV light. Anyway, most paints obviously don't stick to glass. You can just scrape them right off. On my car, I used a primer that was supposed to help etch, and and I just used the trim black self-etching paint that I used on the stainless, because I figured I had the most grip and it had the least amount of buildup, and that worked pretty good on that car. But of course I don't keep it outside and it's not exposed to a lot of UV light, so I don't know how that would last over time. At any rate, when I was a kid, the first job I had was as a silkscreen printer, and we had this really great glass ink that we used to silkscreen on glass, and it would etch its way right into the glass. There was no taking it off. You couldn't razor blade it off. I mean, it was part of the glass. Well, this is the same type of a product, and it's the only product that I've found. There's just, I mean, that other stuff, the silkscreen ink and all that other stuff, I couldn't find that stuff. It probably was not that good for you, and they probably got rid of it. But anyway, this stuff is pretty pricey. I tried to get it in smaller quantities, but gallons all they sell, straight from the distributor. So it's about a $230 gallon there of paint just for the perimeter of the frit of the glass and the front and the rear glass on this car. So anyway, it's the correct stuff. Okay, having moved everything up 1/2 an inch, you can see now with the window fully rolled down that there's still about 1/2 an inch of glass sticking up above these window whiskers, and that's because we have on this side over here we have this permanent stop here that's installed. You can see there's a it's just pushed through a hole. It's a permanent plug, so I'll have to take this out and drop this down about 1/2 an inch in order for the glass to clear. So anyway, these turns out the adjusters that I have right here, these pads right here that you can wind up and down, they have plenty of adjustment to make up that extra 1/2 an inch. I was thinking I was going to have to, I think I was going to have to add a block to here, which this is the upper stop, and then there's these pieces that roll up and bump against those stops, one there and one over here. But there's actually enough, I wound them up and they hit these stops just as this thing the window goes into this upper seal. So at least that's going my way. So I wanted to see if the motors that basically come in the Challenger were stronger than the motors that I've been using for testing. And so the first thing I had to do is I had a couple extra motors. I don't want to risk burning up these motors because I have no schematic for them. I have no idea what the 6 pins represent on these motors. I do know this is these are the chart out of a Charger, so it's a very lightweight window, and it's confined to a track, so it has 2 pins. It's just a simple up and down motor, but all of the newer stuff has the 6-pin motors, which talk to the body control module, and they talk to the door module and the window position sensors, and it's quite the ordeal. So I just wanted to see if I couldn't find 2 pins that run the motor up and down, and lucky for me, I got it right out of the box, and I just made these 2 connectors up over here, which I don't know if we could see in there or not, but it's the 2 lowest pins in this array here. There's 6 pins up inside there. And so I was able to use the actual Challenger type motors, so not the actual ones that come out of this car, because like I said, I didn't want to burn it up with crossing up the wires or anything like that. So I had a couple extra motors and experimented a little bit, and might be my imagination, but they seem to be a little bit stronger than these motors. Could be just, like I said, my imagination, or these motors could be worn. Who knows? Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. That makes life a little bit easier when you're dealing with these tests. You don't have to keep swapping these motors out. Okay, so before I get involved with the glass on this side, I've decided to bring this more to completion now that everything's settled as to the location of everything on both sides. The other side has the glass in it. I'm going to leave that in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in there till I can establish the B-post on that side. And then I'm going to dismantle it, and I'm going to follow up with some of these revisions I made on this side. As you can see, obviously, we don't have the little cutouts in the floor, which is great as far as I'm concerned. I still will have to move this stop down probably about 5/8 of an inch in order for the glass to come down onto the door. Now what I've had to do here is I've tried on the other side to pull all of this equipment out of this big hole that's in the door, the inner door, but it wasn't too successful. And I looked at the Challenger, and it's a huge hole in that door, inner door. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've gone and reinforced this perimeter of this area here, so I'll be cutting this entire panel out right here. So I've got a little bit of 5/8 square tube 049 wall connecting down here to this this little beam that I have that carries the motor, and then I have this little L channel made out of 045, and it's plug welded across the entire top here. The other thing that I had to do after I got all these cutouts and then positioned the motor and everything and had everything stabilized somewhat, I started looking at the door, and all my relief cuts had caused the top of this door to bow inwards on both sides of the car. So I had to go back through, slowly cut everything loose. What I've done is I put a piece of 5/8 tubing, square tubing, across the top here to get everything back straight again, and then I reattached all my plates as far as where they were connected to everything. Anyway, just flattened the whole back, the surface of the inner panel back out for me. At any rate, so I'm going to cut this out next, and we'll see how far I go with that. All right, so I got this panel out. Nothing's wiggling, nothing's moving. It's nice and stout. So these reinforcement pieces work just fine. And so that's going to be about it for this week. I was going to start playing with the glass, but I think that's best left to Monday morning when I'm fresh, because I have started doing the perimeter modifications I need to put the tracking in on this side around the A-post and to the roof over here. But that's a process that's takes a little bit of time. It's a little tedious because you have to keep moving things in and out to get everything lined up with where the glass will go. I've gotten the other carrier for the glass done. I've just got to put the bedding material in and make sure that it's adjusted. I may end up having to drill these holes out a little bit wider to shift this glass over just a tick. At any rate, yeah, that's where we're at, and we're going to leave it there for this week, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.